Greetings. All right, thank you for joining us. Okay, so I don't do much with the drama stuff that's out there. At least the spiritual drama. I'm not gonna go into details of that. So connect to Antarctica instead. So Antarctica timeline shifts, just the energy of it, just other versions of Earth that connect to. Well, that's you don't have to be there to connect to that, but just and also China built a research lab there. I was looking up Antarctica. I haven't done an Antarctica connection in a while, and not they're complaining about China. It's like, what the stuff we don't see. And the U.S. probably does the most. It's probably the most corrupt out of anybody, most likely, and British, and anybody else that's not on that list that stays covert. But either way, also 2025 time traveler energy is obvious. That's from another version of Earth. Not going to tell us anything about the future. You're not going to get that easy card. You can die and find out that way. But yeah, we're not going to. It's not going to be that easy. But okay, to 2025 in general, and just see what it has to say about our current state of affairs. Somebody just showed up here. Priscilla's here in the background or in the side ground. Fritz is here somewhere, but okay. See on this class. All right. Let's see here. Oops. Yeah, it's not too exciting out there unless you're a drama queen. I'm not going into any of that stuff. There's plenty of those out there. Science.com, we have private sessions. We have a schedule. Yeah, there's plenty of those out there. Like every other word is program. It's like, it's this government program, is that program? It's like, you know what? You probably are a program if that's all you say all day. That's so fucking true. What kind of mind control is going on with that person? Not to mention any names. All right. All right, going to Antarctica energies and then to 2025 time traveler frequencies. All right, Priscilla's helping us out, so she might come and go. We'll see how it goes. She doesn't know what she's doing. All right, she's settling down a little bit. Okay, all right. Okay, here we go. Greens of the Antarctica frequencies. There is, yes, giant energies there. There is grown-up frequencies there. The rest of the world is obviously not tapping into the world. It is being tapped into. Basically, you do connect to future timelines. You're just not aware of it consciously. But normally, everyone's different. But normally, you're 5-10 days ahead of yourself normally, but you're not going to tell yourself that. Well, you go day by day normally. But as for the shifts that are occurring, of course, government does interfere. Well, if enough humans here pull on a negative timeline, of course, sometimes negative timelines are like on a news level is forced onto society. And of course, it's up to society to accept it or not. Usually they do accept it. It's kind of like an attack, basically. So in a timeline agenda can attack society, but you don't have to pay much attention to that. But there's many that will. Well, some are going through their victimhood, conspiracy theory timeline they can't seem to get out of. Yeah, think about those are, they come to conspiracy theory itself, and then it just literally cannot get out. And then you have your spiritual groups. They have their own, so especially like alien abduction timelines. Some can't get out of that, um, and so on. Not going. And there's Mars timelines that are difficult. Well, some are. So many people here are holding on to Mars. They can't let it go, or to them that is their highlight of their incarnation process. So they like the drama, so they hold on to it. It's like they're not really doing much in this incarnation, but they remember the other incarnation where they do a lot astrally and not do so much physically. And so on. It would be nice to clear those timelines and connect more to your human self and have your human self develop and improve. But not everyone wants to do that. Well, they find astral more exciting than this physical realm, but eventually you'll have to focus on your physical self at some point. Sometimes why they have health individuals have health issues. It's like it's time to come back down to earth. But Antarctica frequencies, you're always your pole, south and your south pole, north pole, always going to play a role here, of course. So it's kind of like a time capsule. It's timelines are always, of course, moving constantly. They're basically thoughts. They're ideas, and you can do with millions of them a day or a second. You don't have to count them; it's not worth it. But every millisecond, half a second, can alter your reality so quickly. Yeah, you might be told the future, and then like seconds later it alters just like that, because sometimes you can know too much about your future, and that's why it alters. It's like, okay, well, sometimes you go to a reader to see the future and you kind of check it out consciously, and then you alter it there at that time, just as you sometimes even before you have the reading, you already have an idea of what what your future holds. And then sometimes the negative timelines that you need to go through are necessary a lot of times. Obviously, but it can be diverted also. They can be avoided. As for Antarctica in general, you don't have to go there to tap into the frequencies. You can be anywhere. Well, it's basically connected more to, you can say, your Akashic record, your higher record, your whatever you want to call it, your higher self, your higher being. It's not going to tell you a whole lot, but it can tell you about your galactic connections to some level. You don't have to label it, but sometimes you need to add a label to it just to figure out what you're tapping into. Like what galactic race you're connected to, or you see a planet's frequency that you're connected to. Most likely, everyone on this planet has been involved in all the, with everything here in the solar system. That's what planets experience, even the moon energies to some level, to some form, whatever it might be. It might not be exactly how you would envision it, but most likely, because it's just, it's all these planets here, Mars, Venus, and so on, Pluto. It all comes like you mash them all into one planet, basically. They all have a purpose. Of course, other galaxies also too. You can go into that, but really, just as the planets in general really have, and unlocking that within yourself. You don't have to do that. Just focus on your current incarnation. But if you feel like you need to, well, you'd be surprised how many timelines are releasing, especially the Martian timelines. If you're doing any shadow work, it'd be good to release that frequency, because it does pull you into a lower vibration. It can pull in bad luck if you are obsessed with it. It can keep you at a lower state, because it is a lower state. It's not healed yet, for obvious reasons. What's causing conflict here right now? So it's like it killed its planet to focus on this world. So this is like the next generation of Mars to some level. You don't have to look at it that way. Also, yeah, Pluto's energy is here. So Pluto and Mars are playing, and Mercury are playing a big role here. And it's not always going to make itself known. It doesn't have to. But as you go more into your higher frequency reality, when you become more non-physical, all this starts to come into, you start realizing why this is all here. Well, basically, think about all these planets are keeping you here. It's like not that you're locking you here, but this is a school, but they are kind of like, you can say they're keeping you locked here. Let's put it that way. Just keep it simple. You can always leave, but yeah, the planets here are helping you learn you can learn the lessons of other realities. Correct. So there are versions of Earth that look like Jupiter, look like Mars, look like Pluto. That's a fun one. Yeah, this yeah, I'm not gonna go into that one. But with your own incarnation timeline energies, it's good to do some kind of release of family past timelines that cause you difficulty. Those of you who haven't, it's kind of like a reminder for those that have not done it. And you might see, maybe seeing your family as a galactic family and just clearing that frequency out can help you also. It's Anunnaki, and Anunnaki plays a role, but it's not the major ones. Actually, so Mars still plays the heaviest role here, which you probably don't hear about very often for obvious reasons. Well, there's a lot of magic there keeping this world locked down. And now the planet's keeping you locked out. Yeah, there's spell work done from all the worlds to keep you here. And you can unlock that slowly. Now, obviously, I'm not going to let you out certain timelines, but you can unlock those timelines and just see what it does for yourself. Yes, there's nothing wrong with that. You can undo the spells of these other worlds. It won't hurt. Sometimes you might not feel anything from some of these planets. You're not always that aggressive. Like Jupiter sometimes is less aggressive, but Saturn is very aggressive. Well, that goes into a lot of the witchcraft that's here also, not just Mars. So something to think about as you go into your healing phase. It's getting more to your non-physical self. We're basically accessing more, like I said, your higher dimensional energies. And it does help. You still need to be here physically for whatever reason. Well, because you're connected to the library of society. You're influencing society. Like you being here physically, you do, as you look at things differently, the world feels it, as some of you just, once again, like a reminder. So, yeah, you don't have to tell the world anything. You just discover yourself, you discover just peace of mind, whatever. The world feels that frequency just like that. So that's why you're here. Is this bring? It's like thoughts. Your thoughts just go into the Earth's consciousness. So it's something to think about when you're out. But it's okay to not be happy, but it's also good because that's good too. Because if you don't like certain things, the world needs to know that too. So it needs to know all things. So just something to keep in mind. Greece, you were in time travelers in 2025 or 25, keep more interesting. But 2025 in your future is not that exciting. Is as dull as it is now. Now, even astrally, it's not that exciting. It's like you better off not knowing. Sometimes, well, it's just that. Yeah, you can get caught up in the astral realms, and some of you have realized that you get kicked out of there too for obvious reasons. There can be like hundreds of conversations going on at once, and you can read all of it, and that is to prepare you for what's to come. So if you're looking for like a timeline or where things are going to start speeding up for you, yeah, it's like your conversation. If you start having conversations in your dream world, that means, and you don't know what it is about, but something's going on. That's preparing. You're preparing your future lifetimes. Like you're gearing up for some changes. Now, it might not be changing tomorrow. It's not always going to tell you. Well, if you feel like you're having, it depends on the conversation. Sometimes you're just having a light conversation with someone, but then again, you're having like a boardroom conversation, and that has to do with the timelines you're going to alter. So if you example is like if you're going to be a influence on society itself, like we'll just call it an influencer. Yeah, you're going to have a lot of conversations of how that goes. Like, do you want to get karma for this, or do you want to help evolve society? It's like you're really kind of like you're connected to the Earth Council, you can say. Now you've already been set up for that, but others are like, I just work at the dollar store. I don't need to get involved with it. But then others like, sure, why not? I want to have everybody attack me, and so on. But uh, and some of you, and many of you are just assisting the agendas to awaken the planet. And so you might be part of these conversations also. It's like, we got your back. This is not going to be easy. Let's put it that way. So, of course, you have your cult leader energies, and when you go into that, they're just soul sucking frequencies. But that souls, a lot of people need this, so their souls sucked, as you could see, because they're having it done, aren't they? Sometimes it feels better just let someone else run your life. More power to you on that one. But for actual change on like you taking like this galactic knowledge, you don't have to accept it, but just galactic knowledge in general, and just really letting the world know that you're not from other places, just that, and bringing that more into the world stage, but not seen as a crazy person, kind of delivering it in a way where let people decide on their own, but still it goes onto the world stage and it's taken more seriously. So that can take a lot of conversational, astral conversations. It can be quite heavy because there will be people obviously rejecting. Doesn't mean you're going to tell the world about reptilians or they're running the world, drinking everyone's blood. No, it's not that. It's just getting for society to get used to. There's more to, and many already know this. They're just not really haven't been guided to discover that side of themselves yet. It hasn't been packaged, delivered in a way where society is asking that questions. They might find like entertainment as fulfilling, but they're not quite ready to open up that door to the galactic realms as some of you are. But you are here packaging it up and going to deliver it in some form or another. Because before you leave here, you leave something here. And most likely you're going to leave this higher dimensional knowledge here in some form or another. But before it will have a huge impact, though. So something to think about in your journeys. As for next year, once again, next year is not that exciting. Obviously got political agendas, and that's kind of humorous in some ways. It's just it's like you have backwards people running your world, and society just lets them run it backwards. It's like you're riding your bike backwards. They really dare to dial you back. Now, some are there to dial you forward, not that many are there to do that. It's mostly back. Yeah, well, they're slowing society down because society obviously is not trying to evolve. I mean, it can, but it chooses not to. So actually, there's actually figures here, politicians and some of them, is con people are there too to actually slow down society because it's not really going. Society, the world can actually go very fast, but I see society is just not technology advances. Society doesn't because society just it works very slow. Now, some of you are fast. Your numbers are very low compared to the rest of because the rest of the world is not looking for anything. No, not looking for evolving the way you see it. Yes, getting rich or mostly just not always. Maybe just having. Well, they don't always know. They don't know. Just go with it. Surviving life. Not. You'd be surprised how many are not even thinking about that. They just don't know what they're thinking about.